Welcome to another episode of Dad's Rules with Kevin Belzer. And today we are on location in Mesa, Arizona at the Menace Underground, the MAF Podcast Studios. We have been going through a lot of decks. It's opening up a lot of conversation. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. We are back to the Intimacy deck.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Here's the funny thing about the Intimacy deck. Well, one, we didn't realize that there's actually this rule thing at the front of it because we don't read rules, because rules are stupid.
We make our own rules. We follow the rules. It's just sometimes games.
There are actually categories to the rules. There's past, random, life, relationships, intimacy, and about you. Last week we did the intimacy one, so apparently we started with like one of the hardest ones in the deck.
That's a relief.
And that one was, what are some ways we can make sure our hubba bubba life and intimacy stays intact with life gets busy? Okay, yes. It doesn't say that.
We know what it says.
SEX. Hubba bubba. All right, so we didn't realize you could shuffle, pick at random, whatever. So let's just pick one at random. You did a red one last time, so just pick at random as long as it's not red.
That's just one card.
All right, you picked a grayish colored one. See, on here it looks brown.
See, they're weird. They don't match the ink right.
No, they don't.
It's a little crazy.
All right. So this one it says past. Ooh.
Oh, no.
No, this is a good one.
Okay.
Who in your life or past do you owe an apology, and what for?
Oh, crap. Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a really tough one. Wow, how many hours do we have to record this? Probably should just pick one or two.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll start.
Okay.
If I was to pick somebody that you probably should look at who comes to the top of your mind first.
Okay.
Because that's who God is probably telling you that you owe an apology to. So who came to my mind top was Matt Grant.
Oh.
That's who came to my mind.
That's funny.
Top of mind.
Okay.
And my reason is that Matt died 2 days.
He's one of two that popped into my head, so that's kind of funny.
Anyway, he's one of two that died, or one. Excuse me. Now I'm turning around. But anyway, I only had one come to mind. This was the only one.
Okay.
Anyway, he died 2 days before we got married. Where I think that I owe him an apology for is that Matt was a very giving person, a very outgoing person. And at that time in my life, like he'd invited us to go up to Chicago with something and we kind of blew it off and stuff like that. No, so I look at that and I go, that's an action that I wish I'd changed, because I think that could have changed the trajectory of how things played out in the end. You don't know the whole butterfly effect if your involvement with someone at a different time. So I'd say that, and I've looked at future relationships different because of him passing, going that I should have been more present in the friendship at the time. And this has been something I've struggled with anyway.
Gonna make me cry.
But anyway, I look at, this.
Because that.
But I look at.
He is a source of a lot of.
So I look at that and go that if I'd been a better friend, would things have worked out different? That's how I look at that, from whether that's real or imaginative or whatever. But I look back that he invited us to Chicago, and I think we initially said yes, and then just kind of blew off the whole thing and didn't go to Chicago to one of the museums he wanted to go to. So I just look back in hindsight and go, should have done things a little bit different then. So that'd be one. I do actually have a second one that came to mind. There's a friend of mine, Matt, that and I did write about this in one of my books, so this is not something that's any kind of secret or anything.
Well, no.
But with Matt, what I did is we ended our friendship over money. He owed me money.
No, and we knew better at that point too, but we just let it get to us.
Because we knew better. The story I tell in the book is my aunt loaned me money to pay my bills when I was in the military. And when I got back from the military, and the reason she had to is because I was delayed on getting my first check. And she went ahead and she took care of dropping off the rent money and stuff like that, took care of it. And then when I got home, 3 months later, I paid her back. When I was paying her back, she gave me this really weird, shocked look. And I'm like, what? She's like, well, nobody's paid me back before. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't they? You loaned me the money. Why would I not pay you back? And she's like, look, never loan money to family and friends ever expecting to get it back. Because she goes,
give it to give it.
She goes, do not ever end a relationship over money. She told me this when I was 19 years old. Yeah. I proceeded to forget it within the next year.
Yeah.
And Matt owed me a bunch of back rent, his part of the rent and stuff. We were struggling financially and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I, pretty much just ended the relationship there because I was just not, I looked at it not necessarily the wrong way, but I didn't look at it big picture. I looked at it from the standpoint he's not being stand up because he agreed to pay his part of the rent and he didn't pay it. And I took it to the I'm done with you level instead of taking it from the big picture, like my aunt said, of is it worth losing a friendship over? The answer is no. Money is never a reason to lose a friendship over. If you're willing to give it, I'm not talking a business transaction, I'm talking loan to family or a friend money, don't ever do it with the expectation of ever getting the money back. We had loaned a different friend money, probably 5-6 years ago. We loaned him the money. I said to Melissa at the time, I said, don't ever expect to get it back. Just loan it because we have it. And then a couple years later, out of the blue, he sent us a check.
Yeah.
And when I got the check, I'm like, why is he sending me a check?
I just forgot. We didn't remember. We had to think about it. That's how.
Yeah, and I had to call him because I had to call him. I didn't even know what it was. It was for half of the amount.
Yeah.
And then the next month or two later, he sent the other half of the amount. But I had totally forgotten because I'd taken my aunt's approach at that point and said it's not worth losing a friend over money because we had it, he needed it. I think he was getting his truck repaired or something was the reason we did it. But anyway, that's a few of mine.
And that's on people you can't fix it now, but...
No, you can't. And you have to live with that.
Yeah.
There's a rule I have, ask for forgiveness, mean it, and move on. And the purpose of that rule isn't just towards others, it's also towards yourself, where you have to, at some point, go, I can't keep punishing myself for this. I have to be okay with this is how it played out. There's, like in those cases, there's nothing I can do about it. I need to forgive myself. There's other times in life to where you have to go forgive someone else, and whether they accept the forgiveness or not, well, it's kind of on them. And you, again, have to be okay with just moving on.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't even know if it's an actual wrongdoing. Matt had actually asked me to prom, and I wish I had gone.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's new information. I did not know
that. You're right. That is new information you didn't have. He'd asked me to prom, and he was a friend, and it felt strange because everybody always put so much pressure on prom, and not even all the pressure. It just didn't feel like that level of whatever, and I just should have gone. And even my kids now, I urge them, I'm like, just go as a group of friends. You don't have to make this big thing about it. Just go have fun.
Yeah, I went to prom when I asked the girl we were dating, and then when prom happened, we'd broken up, but we still went together. So, kind of awkward. We still had fun. So, but it's not like there was any relationship afterwards. We just she bought her dress, I bought my, what was that thing, the cummerbund?
Yeah, cummerbund.
Matching cummerbund and the bow tie and all that, and we're good to go. So, yeah. Anybody else? No?
That's...
It's okay, you can only have one. Well, some of these cards, it's like we're going to be quick in and out of them, and that's all it is.
That's just saying that I didn't ask for an apology.
Like I said, you can tie this into the rule, ask for forgiveness, mean it, and move on. So what I would say to the people out there that are watching or listening, what I'd say to you is that, look, if there's somebody that you need to apologize to, then just do it. Don't put it off. Just rip the Band-Aid off and go do it. Because it's probably affecting some other area of your life and holding you back.
Yeah.
Because it's taking up mental space.
Yeah.
So at some point you need to go ask for forgiveness. If they passed, you need to ask God for forgiveness. You need to move on.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. If you go apologize to someone and they don't accept your apology, you got to be okay with that.
You can't control that.
You can't control when someone else will be at the point to where they're open to accepting the apology. You just have to be.
You still
You have
did
to
your
understand.
part, and you just have to.
Yeah, you have to understand that there's going to be times to where they're not at your current level. Also, the other thing is, don't sit around and wait for other people to apologize to you. It's just not going to happen. Because here's the thing, they're probably not even thinking about you.
Maybe not.
The likelihood is they're
Likelihoods
not.
are not.
The
Unless
other,
they're.
yeah, it's just not worth waiting around. Again, it's going to be taking up mental space. So forgive them for any ills they've done to you, that you think they've done to you in your head. Because it's not like you can go to them and go, hey, I accept your apology. And they're like, for what? I didn't apologize.
Yeah.
There's no point in that. So in an instance like that, all you can do is go in your own head and go, you know what? I know they did this to me, but I'm going to move on and just move on.
Yeah.
We had a situation years ago to where my dad watched me forgive someone, and he goes, why are you forgiving them? And I go, because the weight is too heavy.
Yeah. It starts to. Yeah. It's
And he didn't understand it. And I said, look, I could go around waiting my whole life for an apology, but it's just not worth it. I just want to move on with my life. And that's where this rule came about, years ago, came up with this rule. And it was like this weight lifted off my shoulders. And I felt like light as air.
Well, I don't know. I think I was pretty. I mean, I know I'm not perfect, so I apologize. I try to apologize pretty quickly, and I'm sure I had times in my life where maybe I wasn't a good friend or something like that. I mean, I would, if I sit and think about it, I'm sure.
Look, and there's going to be times you're going to apologize to someone, and they're never felt anything ill about what you did.
Right.
You're going to go apologize to them, and they're going to be looking at you kind of like their heads cocked a little sideways. They're going to be like, what? Where to them, it wasn't a big deal, and it's a big deal to you.
Right.
But that's okay. You
Yeah.
got it over with.
Yeah.
You got that weight lifted off you, and you got to move on. And that's the important thing about it.
Yeah.
So you just got to be okay with moving on.
Because, I mean, certainly I am not perfect, and I haven't done all things perfectly and whatever, but
And so,
yeah, I would hope that someone's not carrying something that I did. Because I would not, and I've made mistakes and whatever, but.
So what I have on the table in front of me is the draft for Dad's Rules, Get Off My Lawn, the second book. And that rule that I was just talking about, ask for forgiveness, mean it, and move on, is actually rule number 17 that'll be in the upcoming book for that. But yeah, this is what goes into writing a Dad's Rules book. It's a lot of work to get these rules ironed out, figured out. I like that card was drawn because I did want to speak about this book in particular and not just go over the 30-minute wine, which is rule number 15, but actually cover something different. So it's kind of cool that rule number 17 actually came into play because I do believe it's an absolutely essential rule to have a peaceful life.
Well, and then that too is the asking for forgiveness. And I remind everybody that, it's something I wish I'd learned sooner, is when you forgive someone, you're not saying it's okay. You're just saying, I release this from me, and I don't hold it over you anymore, whatever. I'm just releasing it from me. Right. I'm taking the burden off of me, and it's just past now.
Yeah, it's no longer a burden.
So I wish I'd known that sooner for anything. Because then it's less heavy. I don't like heavy. I like to help people not heavy. That's why we have friends to help us carry the weights and help us move forward.
Yep. So we're going to wrap it up here. I think we got a lot of good conversation out of that one. Hopefully you guys did as well. If you liked the show or hated the show, please leave a review, comment, share, friends and enemies alike. And until next time, go out and be the kick-ass adult I know you all can be.